iZombie Season 3, Episode 12, Looking for Mr. Goodbrain, Part 1. Of course, this is the episode leading up to the season finale next week. Sadly, short season, but this is a really good episode. One thing that I have to mention before I get into the rest of the episode is that I'm honestly upset that they killed Natalie. I was really mad about that at the very end. We have the last brother, last one. He ends up being rescued by two of the other zombie truthers. They come in, their attempt was to get him out of the freezer and officially kill him, but of course, and this is crazy to me, in this series, where it's not like The Walking Dead, where it's like, they have to learn, it's like, you know that they're zombies. They didn't even try the zombie trick of like shooting him in the head, and they shot him in the chest, so of course, he wakes up, he kills them, then Harley goes to this party, and he has the vest on, blows up the whole house, and I'm like, Natalie's human. She can't possibly have survived that. And it really sucked to me. I was so upset by that because I was like, oh man, they finally brought Natalie back. Her plan was to leave, live in Italy and take Major with her. And I thought that could work. Of course, do like a little time skip or something. Things are fine for a little bit. And then, of course, he comes back into the show. Maybe she stays there, but he decides to come back to help his friends and, something like that. But I didn't think this was how they were going to stop that from happening. I was like, even if they do stop him from leaving, I didn't think it would be the house was going to blow up and she would be like blown to bits, and that was pretty much it. And I was like, well, that sucks. So they brought her in, has a great moment with Major, and they get back together, or really they get together in general. It's like, we can kind of start our lives somewhere else, and then it's just like, sorry, she's dead now. So that really sucked to me. I was like, man, she went through a lot of random crap. Like, even as a minor character, she definitely went through some crazy stuff in this series, and then she comes back after all of that, and she's blown to pieces. I was like, that sucks. That was really messed up. So I was so upset by that. Like, it oddly upset me when I saw that happen. I was like, that really blows. So, of course, that's the end of the episode. That's how they kind of end things off with Harley going to this house and setting off this bomb. Zombies are an abomination and everything. And he wipes everybody out. Mostly everybody. We do see that one guy survived. He was actually in the promo. I'm pretty sure, considering he was crawling, he's only got the top half of his body, and the bottom half of him is like completely blown off. Maybe he just can't use his legs, I don't know, but we'll have to wait until next week. But it was nuts. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was going on, and I think, oddly enough, one of the more interesting things is the fact that Liv was on this brain that was really leading her down a path that she did not want to go, and ultimately she ends up sleeping with the head of Fillmore Graves at this point, which I mentioned before. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this, but I mentioned before the whole Fillmore Graves thing being very cyclical, and I was like, they have to be involved in like this Weckler case somehow. And so, I'm going to be jumping all over the place because there's so many different connections, but Clive ends up finding out that the daughter this young girl is the daughter of she's almost like the second in command, it seems, at Fillmore Graves, but she's like, the one who's always doing stuff with the mayor, and she's always, I always forget the other characters' names that were actually working at Fillmore Graves. But it was like, oh crap, so that's her daughter. And something that they didn't talk about in this episode, but I definitely noticed, in like the very beginning, I think it was either the first or second person, but when they were talking to the guy who was mentioning like he switched seats or whatever, he was like, yeah, all I told her was like there was this yapping dog or something. And at the end of the episode, after Liv slept with the guy, he had a dog. And the first thing I thought was, why was he on the plane with this woman's daughter? Like, I remember that scene where he mentioned the dog and they showed the dog. I was like, they were on the plane together. So was this the plan to infect people? But there was no infection. Like, they even mentioned early on, like if they were testing, following the trajectory of an outbreak, there would have been one from the origin of where the plane took off from, but there wasn't. So there are a million questions now, like, what's the deal with this girl being a zombie? Like, this girl, I'm assuming, turned Weckler's daughter into a girl, or daughter into a zombie, so it's like, I don't understand how that plays out. And then you have, this dude with his dog, why was he on the plane at the same time as her? Like, there are just a million questions running through my head, so unless that was, I'm totally wrong, and that line of dialogue has zero connection to the dog that we saw at the end of this episode, something really weird is going on. I was trying to put it together, but I'm like, I just can't understand why this woman's daughter was on the plane with this guy. And it just really confused me. So I'm assuming we're going to be getting some really crazy answers in this next episode that have something to do with some international plans or something. But I was like, this is crazy. There's some really weird connections to be made that they don't really talk about. But they show the dog at the end, so it was like, he was on that plane. and so is this woman's daughter. So it was really weird. I'm just like, I really don't understand what in the world is going on. And maybe that mix-up that the guy had wasn't that much of a mix-up, and they knew that he would end up switching seats, you know, to sit next to his wife. And I'm like, maybe that was the setup. So I don't know. There's like some really weird mystery going on there. But of course, things get a little bit further in the Weckler case. We do find out that the mayor is not involved whatsoever. I kind of figured that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Fillmore Graves. And even though they're involved with him, I figured he had nothing to actually do with it. But he does admit, when he talks to Peyton, he's like, you know, let's not pretend you're not in the loop on all of this. And so he wants her to be, I believe, chief of staff. And I thought that was very interesting, or whatever the term, I don't know if chief of staff is specific to the president. But whatever he said, it was a huge upgrade from assistant district attorney. And he does mention the fact that he will most likely be on those tapes. Like, he doesn't tell her to stop looking into the case anymore, which I thought was interesting at first. But then he kind of just admits, like, you know, hey, you know, things are starting to change. I'm mayor now. There's no point in kind of blocking you off. Like, I need someone that's truly on my side. So he kind of just tells her, like, hey, you're going ahead with it anyway. If you happen to see me, don't freak out about it. Just kind of know that that's what's going on there. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. He definitely instills quite a bit of trust in her. And also we find out that he's not really involved in this. But it's definitely some weird stuff. I really am trying to figure out the connection as to what the deal is with, you know, Weckler and killing this woman and who else was on there. Like, I'm assuming there has to have been someone else that was on there. And that's why it's so freaking important. Obviously, you know, for the mayor, maybe it was important, and maybe that's why they had him killed at first, and it was so that they could make sure that, you know, he was eventually mayor, which of course, he's mayor now, so maybe it doesn't matter as much, but I feel like there has to be something else, especially with all the weird connections that they kind of finally show off at the end of this episode. I'm like, it has to be more than they wanted this one guy to be mayor. I know that's a huge step for them, but I'm like, I feel like with all the stuff they went through with this dude taking the blame for a murder, him getting murdered in prison, and then the person that murdered him, you know, mysteriously falling off a boat, that seems like it's much bigger than just let's have this guy, you know, be mayor. Plus, we still have the mystery of who in the world actually killed Wally and his family. Same shooter that was trying to actually kill Weckler, so there's still some weird connection there. Maybe that wasn't actually Fillmore Graves and it was a different, you know, company or subsect within the company or something, but it's really hard to say at this point exactly how things are playing out. So, you know, a lot of mystery there. Hopefully that will actually get revealed in the next episode. That's what I'm really looking forward to. But that's revealed. We have, you know, like I said, Peyton getting the prospect, you know, of a new position. So we'll see how that plays out in the next episode as well. But of course we have kind of like the true chaos of this episode, which is, you know, kind of leading into the end of the episode. But it kind of starts off with, you know, kind of like really the two main focuses in this episode as far as like things going wrong. It was kind of Major actually having a fairly decent day, and then it goes bad, and Liv throughout the, you know, the entire episode having this brain of, you know, Ravi's former boss, who he also slept with, which led to some really hilarious scenes. It was definitely a funny episode. Clive was absolutely hysterical to me in the beginning when he was freaking out about the germs and stuff, and he was always staying like in the back corner and everything like that. And I think it was like with the first woman who was super racist, you know, like even when Ravi says all this stuff and he's like, and when you say someone like me, you mean brown, all the stuff he mentioned, she was just like, yes. He's like, wow, like she was just like, yep, that's exactly what I meant, all that racist stuff. So it was really funny, but Clive was hilarious that whole time, and he's like trying to turn around like in the corner as if that's going to save his life in like these enclosed spaces. But he was super funny though. I loved all of that. The visions that show up for Liv early on are of course really funny. But then it gets a lot more serious because we see her at this bar, and you know, initially it's like, okay, well maybe she'll have a vision here, which doesn't end up being the case. But we find out that the reason she's at that bar the whole time is because this woman was sleeping with different guys all the time. And for Liv, that makes a huge difference because she's with someone now. And unfortunately, the brain takes over officially, you know, by the end of the episode. And I was hoping it wouldn't, but I kind of figured it would. I was like, oh crap, it's going to happen here because this is a character that she actually knows in some capacity, even if he's kind of like really strict and, you know, standoffish. She still has this connection to this character already. It's not just some super random person. She knows what's going on. Plus, they have a fairly unique connection of being zombies and being freaked out like, hey, when all humans find out what's going on, which is super, super close because of course, the report that's at the end of the last episode. So it's like they have this connection already, and I was just where I was like, I hope she can fight it, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. And naturally, it's going to be a big part of the next episode, so we'll see how that ends up playing out. But it was just like, man, she's kind of going down this rabbit hole. The whole episode, she has to, change her hair and do the makeup and stuff because she is kind of the poster child of zombieism at this point. So I'm curious how that's going to play out for the next season. Or, if we do get a time skip, will she go back to, letting her hair go white and stuff like that? Or is this, like, semi-permanent? Because with the Discovery Day thing happening, it's so incredibly close. I don't know if we should expect her to go back because it's like, it's chaos anyway. What does it really matter? So, I'm not sure exactly what we should expect to see as far as, visually for which version of Liv we're going to get for next season. But definitely curious. It'll certainly be determined on whether or not the secret is kept or if things are just chaotic and it's like, yep, people know about zombies. Oh well, just, don't tan, But very crazy ending. She ends up sleeping with this guy and, they're having stuff at the party and everything. And of course, we have our two guys, the only two, well, like I said, technically three live. But we got our two guys. And so it's like, hey, can I talk to you? They go outside, they're chatting it up. And of course, right as they're about to go back in, that's when the explosion goes off, blows up the house, kills pretty much everyone inside. And it was just a crazy way to end the episode going into the season finale. And another big thing, we still don't know who in the world took the cure. I thought that might come up in this episode just because Natalie came back. I thought there would be some reference to it and maybe it would lead into kind of that next part of the story of like what in the world happened there. But we still don't know. It's still like this huge mystery and there's nothing to it. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode what happened there and maybe we will get to see Major as a part of that storyline because of course he does get outed because of the post and everything, and they bring back something. I completely forgot about this. I totally forgot about the sex thing where it's like if a human has sex with a zombie, that person becomes a zombie. I totally forgot about that because they did that in like the first season where it's like, yeah, the microbes are like so tiny that even if you wear a condom, you can't get that person pregnant, but you can turn them into a zombie. Like that's how small the cells are to turn you into a zombie. And I was like, I totally forgot about that. And so of course it's like, either you found like some insane way to, stop like penis zombie cells or something, or you're human. So I thought that was actually very interesting. So of course, Major not being a part of Fillmore Graves anymore, and now not really having Natalie, maybe he'll have this drive to find the cure so he can kind of help everyone, or I don't know, maybe he'll want to become a zombie again, and that way he can survive until he gets to the cure again. I don't know, there's just so many elements that can come up. We didn't see Blaine or Donnie or any of that part of the story in this episode. So I don't know if they'll show up, but really wouldn't surprise me. It's the season finale, so I wouldn't be surprised if like everybody showed up, especially with all the craziness that's going down. But it was nuts. It was a really crazy way to end this episode. We had like the emotional side with Liv, who can't 100% truly control herself because of this stupid brain, and then the other side we just have an absolute crazy, devastating moment where all these characters get killed off, and it's like, well, what happens now? So, going into this finale, I'm definitely excited. I'm really looking forward to how things end out. How far we get with this whole Discovery Day. A big explosion brings a lot of cops and a lot of investigations, and Ravi and Liv are only two people. They will probably have to bring in other people to test, which they kind of already do at the beginning of this episode, which is another thing that's kind of teased where it's like that the woman, the new medical examiner that kind of comes in is like, well, she has to be hiding something because they talk about the point of origin for the virus, like there would have been an outbreak there just like there is here, which there still could be, and we just don't know. It is across the world, and it's not like Ravi, Liv, and Clive are like that in the know. Like Fillmore Graves is clearly keeping some secrets, so maybe that is the case and we just don't know it yet, and it's being kept secret there just like it is in Seattle. So there's a lot of mystery going into this finale, but this was definitely a great episode leading into it. It was some emotional stuff, all emotional, but like emotional sad, and then just emotional shocking. So I cannot wait to see what they do with this finale. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And of course, I want to know not only your theories for what we're going to get in the season finale, but I just want to know what you guys want to see. Who will live, who will die if we lose more characters, how things might play out. I feel like there aren't really any actual villains, but there is, because I would assume Harley was not the person that shot at Weckler. So there's got to be someone else there. It's just so hard to say what's going on. Like, there's something to it. There's some mystery component that we don't have just yet. Like, either this person is within Fillmore Graves, or they are going to introduce like a brand new third party. Like, this person that killed Wally's family shot at Weckler, and we still don't know who they are. Maybe they're within Fillmore Graves, maybe they're not. But there hasn't really been, outside of just the mystery with like this person is connected to Fillmore Graves and stuff like that, there's been no other real evidence. So like, either they're going to introduce something brand new, or it's going to be someone we've seen, and they have to like make, give us the story as to why it makes sense they would try to kill Weckler. Or maybe they knew. Maybe they just knew this will be great for his numbers. That could be simple too. But why would they kill Wally and his family? So, still a bunch of mysteries, but I would love to know your theories for what's going to happen and what you guys want to see in general for this season finale. And like I said, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.